Rosebud. Well, it's the 4th of April 2009. This is Jim. I live in Texas, and I'm on just an afternoon smell the roses ride. It's a beautiful day in Texas. It's about 80 degrees. There's a breeze, but not a bad breeze, pleasant breeze. I'm out in central Texas. This is Granger Lake, which is located east of Georgetown and north of Taylor in central Texas. It's mostly a reservoir, but it has a nice park here and a nice view. And there's a Corps of Engineers built dam. One of the reasons I decided to come by here is that above us in the sky up there, you can't see it, but up there in the sky above this lake is, the guy thinks I'm crazy, a holding pattern, an instrument for airplanes. And I did a lot of my, I do a lot of instrument practice for my private pilot instrument ticket up in this holding pattern up here. So I've circled this lake many times practicing instrument holding procedures, but I've never come down here in all the years I've been in central Texas. I've never come and seen this view. I've always wanted to come and drive this dam here where that truck's going and see the pretty view. So now I've finally done it. It is pretty nice in a quiet, you know, conservative Texas kind of way. It's not the Alps, it's not, you know, Lucerne, Switzerland, but it's pretty nice in its own way. A little bit green. We've had a little bit of rain after a long drought. We're getting a little rain, so we got a little bit of green, which is always a good thing to have. I'm just picked a town at random that I'm driving to. I'm going to stop maybe at some historical markers or any little interesting thing. This is not an hard butt ride by any means. It's only about, I stopped at Georgetown at Central Texas Power Sports to just look at the motorcycles, where I'm just heartbroken because my legs aren't long enough for the motorcycles I want. I'll put a crying video out about that later, but by golly, I wish Suzuki would make a low-frame version of the V-Strom, or Yamaha make a low-frame version of the FJR, the way BMW is making low-frame versions of almost all their bikes. My next bike might be a BMW that costs, you know, 40% more than a just as good Japanese bike, but if I can't sit on it comfortably, what good is it? Enough crying and whining. Anyway, I'm needing the GPS, and right now I only have the one ram mount. I need to get one. There's a ram mount that can go into these two bolts here on the tank reservoir. Then I can put the camera on the bike, or maybe I'll just break down and get another helmet and a. I found out the Fuji Fine Picks. I forget who put that video up, but put a link to one that was only $100, and that's kind of within my budget for just silly toys. So maybe I'll break down and put a helmet in my camera. Bilma said I'm not a real vlogger because I tend to stop or narrate and not talk while I'm riding, which I guess is the qualification to be a real vlogger. So although I'm not a real vlogger, I thought I'd share this beautiful Central Texas afternoon with you folks, and I'll stop a couple times more along the way, I'm sure, till we get to the final destination. The way I picked this route was I picked a couple of towns out here in northeast central Texas, and then I got on Google Maps and I zoomed in to almost the tightest thing. There's little tiny blue lines, and so I try to route myself over the blue lines, and then I take the route and get the lat longs for the turn points and put them in my GPS. The Ninja's not really a dirt and gravel bike, but here we are, County Road, Winston County, where I live. Its maintenance ends right here, so whichever county's in front of me doesn't choose to pave this road. Isn't it beautiful? There's beautiful farmhouses and stuff here, and I'm having a great time here, and I just thought I'd share that with you. So this is the end of Winston County here in central Texas, and the east interstate, more of the Black Earth region of Texas is very fertile. You get to Interstate 35, west of that, it turned into rocks, and there's not nearly as much nice dirt as there is out here. But but here it is, and I'm about to do a little dirt biking, or at least gravel road biking, on my little Ninja. Welcome to Davilla, Texas. This is their post office. The ride over the dirt roads was interesting. The GPS took me down a little tiny narrow dirt road, and it kind of dead-ended somebody's house, so I had to backtrack and find another way here. But this is one of the waypoints I wanted. Not a whole lot here in Davilla. There's an old downtown behind me that's kind of run down now. It's got a restaurant though. It's got a lot of people milling around, so I didn't want to just whip the camera out and say, hey, look at the slack-jawed yokels of Davilla, Texas, or at least that's not what I would say, but I didn't want them to perceive that. Hey, there's a historical marker over there. Let's go check that out. Be right back. Okay, here we are. This is probably the newest building, or the nicest building in Davilla. Looks like this was their Baptist church. Goes back to 1866. It's pretty old. I don't think this is the original building. That might be over there. It's their civic center. Probably was, maybe that was an old school. You see a lot of these little towns, their old schools get, you know, the school district consolidation to the larger town, and their old school becomes a kind of a civic center. So they started in a Methodist church, or they started meeting in a Methodist church. I guess the Methodists and Baptists get along okay out here, and baptized people in the creeks and stuff like that. So this is a typical little Texas farming town. Well, my GPS is again sent me onto a little dirt road that's covered with ball bearings. Look at that. This is a lot of fun. But the reason I stopped, because this is what a lot of Texas looked like when the first Europeans came. Now what these are is, I believe this is sorghum or hay. I believe it's sorghum, it looks like. But you see the wavy grass there. Texas did not have a lot of trees this far east. Most of Texas, the big belt of Texas from the east, once the East Texas forest died out, was real tall grassland, and there weren't very many trees. We have lots of trees now. The trees were pretty much came in. Some of them, like our notorious cedar tree, were imported, which was a big mistake in retrospect. And the live oaks and stuff started growing after people were cultivating the land. But when the Indians were here, it was there, and they were the only occupants of the land. There was lots of just hundreds and thousands of square miles of just wavy grass like this, and I don't know how well it's going to show up on this camera, but it's very, very interesting. You can see in the sorghum field, you can see waves just like water almost. I'll try to zoom this a little bit. Very interesting. Well, I've arrived at my destination of Rosebud. I've arrived at Rosebud, Texas. I know nothing about Rosebud, Texas. I was just looking on the Google Maps, casting about for a place to ride today, looking for some back roads, and I just loved the movie Citizen Kane. And so I thought, well, Rosebud, they got a big cemetery here. A lot of deceased people in Rosebud. But this is Rosebud, and we're going to go into Rosebud. I'm stretching the gas just a little. I got 180 miles, and I once went on reserve at 180 miles. Now I think that was a lot more. That was like solid interstate into the wind at wide open throttle. Generally I can go 200, 210 and no problem. So we'll see. Hopefully they've got a gas station.
What have you been doing all this time?
Playing with a jigsaw puzzle?
If you could have found out what that Rosebud meant, I bet that would have explained everything.